Hello, everyone, and welcome to Secular Ultra Quran. And today we have a shirt to give away.
Yes, we're giving away a shirt. Somebody out there is going to be wearing.
I guess in a minute or two,
when you switch,
whenever
readers,
Chris feels like it.
halfway point.
At the halfway point, we'll give away a shirt. So you've got to stick around the whole time because you don't know when the halfway point's going to be.
Dude, I have watched at least one other stream.
Yeah, we'll give away a shirt in the middle of the stream. That's a good point. We should definitely do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm ready. I have it here. I won't forget.
Okay, good. Let's. I'm also gonna try my best not to forget.
Anyways, I have the Penguin Classics Quran, the Quran Projects Quran, and the Study Quran.
Okay, I have Qurans from Maulana Muhammad Ali, Abdullah Yusuf Ali, and the Quran, the Bible from Gabriel Said Reynolds. We also have a thematic commentary on the Quran from Shaykh Muhammad Al-Ghazali.
And what were you saying before?
So, two things before we hop into the meat and potatoes of this stream. Number one, Dr. Kip Davis are calling you out because I told him to tell people to come to this stream, and he did no such thing. So, damn it, Kip.
Kip, you're letting us down.
Yeah, seriously. Awful.
Why have you done this?
And then the second thing is that I had a great day in class today. And I already told you guys this, but I'm going to tell the people this right now. So in my Roman history course, the first half of it was all, pretty regular Roman history stuff. Caesar, Augustus, classic shit. But the second half of that course is all about the spread of Christianity. And the best part about it is that we get to reenact the Council of Nicaea. Everyone was given a role, like a character. We're basically playing D&D.
Wait, did you have dice?
No.
Well, it's role playing.
It is role playing. Yeah.
Okay.
They're acting.
Yeah.
So give us a sneak peek.
Oh, it was unfortunately no. I wish someone was recording it because it'd be great to watch it.
Yeah.
But the idea is that I'm Arius. I get to be Arius. Arius is the main heretic of the Council of Nicaea. The Council of Nicaea, you have the Alexandrians and the Arians, and they're arguing about the nature of Jesus. Is Jesus to be synonymous with God, or with the Father, I should say, or is he like another creation of the Father? And I have to argue that he is a created being of the Father. Mm-hmm. So I pulled up. I have an entire sheet of quotations from church fathers and all of my commentaries on Christology, all of my books on Christology. I went through a shit ton of stuff, quoted stuff, summarized stuff, just so everyone on my team understands what the fuck is up. I gave them background philosophies, stuff like Platonism and how that played a role in this. I gave them stuff on the difference between Logos Sarx Christology and Logos Anthropos Christologies. I gave them a huge wealth of background material to read up on. And I was here are the arguments for Arianism, and here are the possible refutations of Arianism, and here's how you refute those refutations. Mm-hmm. And I brought up everything. And I guess not everything. There was still one part that I was confused about, and that was the baptismal creed. But the rest of it, luckily they didn't bring up the baptismal creed. I don't think the other side is smart enough to bring up the baptismal creed.
Whoa!
But I know, right? Calling
snap.
them out.
And they're watching. They're in our audience right now.
I think one of the people on my team, I bet you he's a fucking traitor. Unless he's actually dumb as shit. Like the person, not the character, the person. Unless the person himself is actually dumb as shit, the character is supposed to be a backstabber. Because Eusebius of Caesarea is supposed to be on my side. He's supposed to be an Arian. Not only when the one time he went up to speak, because you have to be in character while you're speaking, right? And while you're debating. Maybe. So the one time he went up to speak, he quoted something that only an Alexandrian would quote. And then he left. And then when we were doing this big vote at the end, which this is actually a multi-day thing, so it's going on for another week and a half, he voted for the Alexandrian proposal. And I was like, What are you doing?
Scandalous.
I think from speaking to him, I think he's actually just fucking stupid.
What? Huh?
I don't think he's a very smart guy, but I sure hope that this is just the character and he's supposed to be a backstabber. But I was very mad about that. I was like, what are you doing, dude? And no explanation. He was just like, yeah, I know I voted for the other guy. I know. And I'm like, are you going to say anything other than I know?
Yeah,
his vote was would have been enough to sway the proposal. Like, what are you doing? We had it in the fucking bag. They have to defend the Trinity, and we were down a person, and then he voted for the other side.
Oh man.
And like I was able to persuade, most of the people who are supposed to be on the fence. And I was like, this is insane. I feel like I just got screwed.
You probably did.
Now I know how Arius felt.
Yep.
So
you got backstabbed.
I must have been backstabbed.
Yeah.
Must have been.
Anyways, that's all very entertaining, but why don't you show them your Arius impression?
Oh, I didn't come up with like a full character for it, but what I want to do next time is play the character as if he were Randy Savage. So I'm going to go in there with, glasses and going, oh yeah. I want to do that. I don't know if it'll go over well, but I want to do that.
Okay. You can do that. We're a GoPro.
Well,
anyways,
good content.
we're reading the Quran. We're in chapter 7, Surah 7.
And we are continuing with the story of some of the old-timey prophets. So we have, in this section, we're going to have Noah, who's actually the background of this. Mm-hmm. Actually, if you move your head a little bit, or if we go to a different screen, you'll see Noah there with his bright eyes, like all holy and divine and shit.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Nice dodge, Ruben.
And we're also going to cover Lot today.
That's a lot.
Lot is pretty important for them, apparently.
That is a lot.
That is. So let's hop into some of these old prophets.
Okay. Let's hop into it then with verse 60. The notables among his people said, truly, we think that you are in manifest error. His people. Who are we referring to here? We were talking
the elite of the elite of his people.
Yes, he is Noah. We were beginning the Noah story.
So before that, certainly we said Noah. Yeah.
Yes. So these are the people who don't believe in Noah. He said, "O my people, there's no error in me, but rather I am a messenger from the Lord of the worlds. I deliver unto you the messages of my Lord, and advise you sincerely. And I know from God what you know not. Or do you marvel that a reminder from your Lord should come unto you by means of a man from among yourselves, so as to warn you that you might be reverent, and that haply you may receive mercy?"
Yeah, so do you wonder that a reminder has come to you from your Lord through a man from among you, that he may warn you? This has always been the weird part to me with some of the phrasing of the Quran. Maybe I think it's just a translation issue. Do you wonder? Do you consider it odd? There we go. That makes a lot more sense. Do you consider it odd that a reminder from your Lord should come to you through man? So this is the first of the big covenants, right? This is the Noahide covenant.
Well, here it's a rhetorical piece, right?
He's also bringing up
he's making an argument against presumably a counter argument that they would have encountered, right? That people don't believe that God would send messages through a person.
Yeah.
Right.
And not just not just that. Like at the time, right? Who would have been the people who would have communicated with God like that other than Adam. I mean,
Cain.
Yeah, Cain, yeah. Enoch, perhaps, but like, I don't think these people were, like people back then, they weren't thinking about the, well, I guess if they had first Enoch, they might, but other than that, they might not be thinking about how,
Like
what
the
Enoch,
timeline works.
how Enoch and God were chatting. Like, I don't think they're probably thinking about that for the most part.
Well, I don't know, because there's very little of Enoch in the Bible.
Yeah.
Even though there is like a huge amount of Enochic and Metatronic belief among many early Jews. In fact, I think that there's a piece in the Talmud that like warns against specifically worshiping Metatron. I need to fact check that though.
Oh, I'll also need to check that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole him becoming Metatron was pretty crazy.
Yeah, they call him the little Yahweh.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting. But let's continue on here with verse 64. Yet they denied him, so we saved him and those who were with him in the ark, and we drowned those who denied our signs. Truly, they were a blind people.
Now, this is actually a little bit different from the story we're told in Genesis.
Mm.
So
in Genesis, we have the animals narrative.
Well, I mean, yeah, that is one thing. That is true. But even for just the people who drown, when it says like those are the people who rejected our messages, the people in Genesis, it seemed like they were just like wicked to the core, that did they even hear about true faiths, or was everything just like lost because it was like a generation that was so far from this divine world?
It's hard to conceptualize because you don't exactly have genealogies of all these different people that can be traced back to Adam and Eve in every case. I mean, like in some individuals you do, but for like the people who are killed in the flood at large, you do not. So who knows?
Yeah, it just says that now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, like right before the flood narrative.
Yeah.
So it's not like, it doesn't seem like there's much of an attempt for outreach, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that it is presented in the Quran seems like there was, saying that we drowned those who rejected our messages.
Now, this is also different because we is capitalized. But I'm trying to find if there's commentary on it, because it's clearly multiple individuals if it's we. So is this still the angels who are doing this? And like, how does that work? Is Allah not involved directly in the flood narrative?
That is, I mean, he probably would be, right?
You would think so.
So, or maybe he was, hold on. There is one note here. Let's see. Oh, no, it just, when they say that, okay, the only note here is on surely they were blind people. The tribe of Ad, with its prophet Hud. Oh, it just says that it's mentioned in the Quran and other places. Ad was the grandson of Aram, who was the grandson of Noah, and the tribe of Ad spoken of here is called the first Ad, as distinguished from the tribe of Thamud.
Well, we're about to get into Ad.
Oh, right. That is next. Yeah. So where the hell's there's nothing. Yeah, I guess I was talking about the wrong verse again. Damn, I got to stop doing that shit, I swear.
Yeah.
There's apparently going to be more stuff on the flood in chapters 11 and 23. But
we'll get there.
It may be noted here, however, that the Holy Quran does not support the idea of a world deluge, for it plainly states here that Noah was sent only to his people, not to all nations. Only the people to whom Noah delivered his message called him a liar.
Yes, it's not a global flood. It's just the people that Noah talked to dying in the flood.
Yeah, I guess. Just the people he talks to. So if you think about it, he kind of fucked him over.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Okay. Tell me if there's a different way I can explain this argument.
I don't think so.
Maybe you've heard this before.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this it's not like a true story, but it's this, little anecdote about a preacher who goes to like some place up in like, near the poles or something, some, very far up north, and he finds this fisherman there, and he starts like preaching Jesus to him because he's like, he lives like away from society and all that. So he starts preaching about Jesus, and the guy asks, well, would there be a chance of me being saved if I didn't know about this? And he's like, oh yeah, it would be based on your works.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, then why did you tell me? So he essentially damns him.
The igloo.
Yeah.
Eskimo.
I don't think it actually follows, because from the Christian perspective, they hold that Jesus literally says the only way to heaven is through me.
Sure, yeah.
And so you can't be saved without faith, and faith
the
is
thing
given in exchange for the grace from God that saves you.
I get
right?
that, but obviously there's a huge moral implication with that of what do you do with the people who've never heard of you?
Right, and I assume that if you hold to the position that the only way to heaven is through faith in Christ and Christ alone, right?
Yeah.
Then those people who have never heard of Christ categorically can't go to heaven.
Sure. Well, I guess that was part of the reason they came up with something like
Right.
purgatory and like other, like they're like, oh, maybe they're going to be punished for a little bit and then, go to heaven or something.
Yeah, clearly this was not like a satisfying position.
Right. But like the question of like, then why did you tell me? To me, that intrinsically makes sense.
Right.
As like, well, now they can't be based off of their works. Now they either have to accept this or get fucked forever.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently that doesn't make sense to other people. And I'm curious if there's another way to explain that, because I brought it up with some religious friends, and they were like, well, what do you think? We were just given this word to send people to hell. And I'm like, well, no, but I think that, philosophically, it would imply that if you start preaching these things and people don't accept them, then you are condemning them to hell because they didn't accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that makes sense to me, but it doesn't make sense to other people.
I guess not.
I don't know if there's another way I could describe it, but all right.
It's pretty straightforward, though.
I think so. But all right. Anyways.
One of the great things about the New Testament is that Jesus specifically gives the apostles magic powers.
He does, yeah.
So that like people don't have to just like believe what they say. They can demonstrate that they have magic powers, and clearly that is the sign that something is up, right? I wonder why that doesn't get transmitted through the lineage of the priesthood.
Yeah, I guess that's only a special power you get from God himself, or from Jesus, I guess.
Wow, hot dog.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be convenient though? Because then we wouldn't have like any issue.
Yes, the ability to heal people wherever would be convenient. You're right.
Yeah. Like that's some D&D shit.
And none of those faith healers ever work in hospitals.
No, they don't.
Never do. I wonder why.
And unto Ad, their brother, Hood, he said, O my people, worship God. You have no God other than him. Will you not be reverent? Let me tell you about Hood. Hood's an Arab prophet whose story is also told in some detail in 1150 through 60 and various other places. Although Hood has no counterpart in the biblical text, the Islamic tradition maintains that he and his people are descendants of Noah through the latter's son, Sam or Shem. In one account,
Wait.
the lineage of Hud is given as Hud ibn Shalik or Shala ibn Arfakshta
I'm going to go. Okay. Wait, hold on.
ibn Sam ibn Noah, with all of his ancestors having biblical counterparts.
Okay. So question here. So you said that there was no biblical counterpart, but consider this. If they viewed themselves as descendants of Ishmael, and like Abraham would have come from the line of Noah, how would they? I guess would it be through a different line that they wait? No, it's not possible. I guess not.
Well, he's a
everyone died.
prophet, but he's not a Hanif.
Oh, okay. So he's not like one of their ancestors.
He's not. He's in the line of Noah, but it's not clear that he is of the line of Abraham.
Well, no, he wouldn't be.
No.
But okay, I was just making sure, right? Because like if he was of the line of Noah, sorry, just trying to get these genealogies to fit is kind of rough. But I guess if you're going with the whole like, oh, it wasn't actually a global flood, and there were other people alive, then that's fine.
The notables among his people who disbelieved said, "Truly we think that you are foolish, and we consider you to be among the liars." He said, "O my people, there's no foolishness in me, but rather I'm a messenger from the Lord of the worlds. I deliver unto you the message of my Lord, and truly I am a trustworthy advisor unto you. Or do you marvel that a reminder from your Lord should come to you by means of a man from among yourselves, so as to warn you? Remember when he made you vicegerents after the people of Noah, and increased you amply in stature.
So
remember the boons of God, that haply you may prosper."
So do all prophets just get to say that?
Yeah, I guess this is like clearly they're drawing a direct parallel between
also
Hud and Noah.
Also, where it says here that where they talk about Hud, Geiger thinks that Hud is the biblical Eber in Genesis 10, Genesis 10:21.
I love that guy's meters.
Right, don't we all? And associates the punishment of his people with the scattering of the people at the Tower of Babel, but this is not certain. So that is an interesting identification. You know, considering the amount of stories that Muhammad has referenced and how many he misremembers, I would not find it super surprising that he got some names mixed up and, you know, summarized things in different ways.
Maybe. I think they're trying to make a parallel between Hud and Noah very clearly.
Sure. Well, that is 100% true. Sure.
They said, "Have you come unto us so that we may worship God alone and leave aside what our fathers worshipped? Then bring upon us that wherewith you have threatened us, if you're truthful."
And bring to us what thou threatenest us with, if thou art of the truthful. Man, these are not great sentences.
But it's like, oh, you say that a meteor's gonna hit us if we don't
show
leave,
us.
then let a meteor hit us.
Sure, yeah.
Um.
Oh yeah, and abandon what our fathers have been worshiping, then bring us what you threaten us with. Okay.
He said, "Defilement and wrath have already come upon you from your Lord. Do you dispute with me over names that you have named, you and your fathers, for which God has sent down no authority? Then wait. Truly, I'm waiting along with you." So we saved him and those who were with him through mercy from us, and we cut off the last remnant of those who denied our signs and were not believers.
So a couple things here. What it says that they have already suffered this punishment. The past tense may be understood in three ways. Either famine has already afflicted Ad as a warning before they were overwhelmed, or the terrible insolence and sin into which they had fallen was itself a punishment, or 3, the prophetic past is used as much as to say, behold.
No, we know.
That's not the real one. Yeah. I see a dreadful calamity. It is already on you. So I think we've seen at least a few phrases like that in the Bible, right? Where even though something is coming, the acting as if it's already there and happening gives a lot more oomph. Probably happened in some of those minor prophets, right?
Nope.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, surprise.
Nope, not at all.
Oh well,
Maybe.
I guess what a bummer. And okay. So just to make sure,
There's a lot of genocide in these last few verses, right? First, there's the flood with Noah, which is not global, but is a genocide of a local region. And then there's this genocide of Ad.
Sure, yeah.
Not great. It directly says, it's
all the people that didn't listen.
We cut off the last remnant of those who denied our signs and were not believers.
Right, yeah. When it says, I'm gonna try to make sure I don't. Oh, okay. This is a fun one. So it says here that when it says that indeed uncleanliness and wrath from your Lord have lighted upon you. This when it goes to say that when they're talking about the gods that their fathers worshipped, all that stuff, they you know what? No, that commentary sucks. I'm just gonna go to the next part. This is some copium probably. They were destroyed by a storm blowing on them continuously for 8 days.
Oh, wow.
According to Surah 69. Nice. According to that surah, apparently because we were told that we get more of a story there. Yeah, apparently it's from a storm and not from well, it's another natural disaster, right? So you have a flood, and then you have a giant storm.
Yeah, and we'll see it in 62 chapters.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yep.
Jeez.
Eventually. Someday. Anyways, let's continue on. And unto Thamud, their brother Salah, he said, O my people, worship God. You have no other God than him. There's come unto you clear proof from your Lord. This she-camel of God is a sign unto you. Leave her to graze freely on God's earth and cause her no harm, lest a painful punishment seize you.
Why are they getting a camel? So this is what, 73?
Yes.
Yeah, 73. So this is obviously another related peoples, but I am wondering why they are getting a camel to look after.
So the clear proof is used throughout the Quran, but here the clear proof is a she-camel that he miraculously brought forth from a large rock after his people had requested a sign confirming his prophethood. Insofar as the Thamud are eventually destroyed for slaughtering the she-camel. Oh, spoiler.
Whoa, what a bummer.
The story serves as one of the signs of God with disdain, as well as a more particular warning about the danger of asking for signs and the necessity of believing in them once they had been granted.
This commentary mostly talks about the geographical location of these people, and that doesn't really answer any of my questions. So I'm not gonna bother with that, at least with this commentary. And I mean, this commentary goes over more about how more of the genealogy, how the lineage is explained. And the rest of it, okay, so neither the Quran nor any reliable sayings of the Holy Prophet lends any support to the numerous legends regarding the miraculous appearance and prodigious size of the she-camel. It's called Allah's she-camel because it was given as a sign from Allah. It was an ordinary she-camel. She was given as a sign to the people. The slaying of it was a sign that they would neither accept the truth nor cease persecuting Salih and his followers. It may be noted here that there is nothing strange that a camel, there's nothing strange that a camel should be given as a sign, when even now we can see that a roughly constructed house known as the Kaaba is given as a sign to the whole world, so that whoever tries to destroy it will perish. Is that what happens? So he's saying it's poorly constructed, but it's, it doesn't need like a big architectural, like, it doesn't need anything fancy architecturally speaking. It's a box. It's a cube. So you don't really need anything fancy. But apparently there's nothing fancy about this camel either. So even
it's a she-camel. That's what's fancy about it.
Yeah. So even though there's that story, like the stories you mentioned about like it coming out of a rock and being miraculous or something, no, nothing like that.
Huh. It's just a camel.
Remember when he made you vicegerents after Ad and settled you on earth? You built castles for yourselves on the open plain and hewed dwellings in the mountains. So remember the boons of God and behave not wickedly upon the earth, working corruption.
I'm going to guess that's a bad thing that they did that stuff.
No. I think it's like...
Or were they given
you're
this?
benefiting from all this
Right,
stuff that
okay,
God
yeah.
created.
I wasn't sure about the what's it called? The reference to the castles, right? Because that could be like, earthly king sort of stuff.
Could be.
So that's why I wasn't too sure about that. That was verse 74, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He made you successors and settled you in the land. You make mansions on its plains. That's how he translates it. And hew out houses in the mountains. Yeah, okay. So this is like, okay, so don't go astray because you'll lose all this great stuff that you've gotten. And this is, I guess they're pretty closely related, so it's not like a whole lot of time
like
has
the
passed.
same motif over and over again. In fact, they have the same kind of line of reasoning and argumentation.
Like Chrissy says camels hate lemons. What?
They would hate you.
Yeah, they would hate me.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a bummer though. Well, you know what? More for me. More lemons for me.
You just eat them raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, pulp and all. It's like
yeah.
It's like
I just
what about
eat
the
the lemon.
skin?
Well, no, I don't eat the skin.
Oh, you don't. You don't have the lemon peel. You don't just like take a bite of it like an apple.
No, I don't do that.
Oh man.
No, I do. I do slice it like a civilized weirdo, and then I eat the lemon.
Wait, how do you slice it?
So like,
Is this like an
the same way you
orange?
slice like an orange? Yeah.
What?
So you're not having like lemon slices, like like a circle.
No, they're like the semicircles.
The more you know. That's how Lawrence likes his lemons. You don't like put sugar on them.
How do you like your
or-
lemons?
I don't buy lemons.
You don't buy lemons.
No.
Yeah.
You
I
grow them.
think I bought some lemons at one point for like some cocktails or something.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. But
You not even like put them in like other food as like something, I don't know, some citrus.
yeah, I don't cook that much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had fruit flies like a year ago, and since then, no fruit. Just
Is it because they've been eating it, or is it
it's
because
we
you
don't
just
want
don't
them
wanna-
again.
Okay.
they were really rampant.
maybe they would get along with you if you gave them some fruit.
Yeah, good call, mate.
Yeah, okay, good. Good advice from me.
Maybe if you don't give them some fruit, they'll go on strike.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a good point.
Anyways.
The notables among his people who were arrogant said to those among them who believed and whom they deemed weak,
Okay, yeah.
do you know that Saleh has been sent by his Lord? They said, truly we believe in that wherewith he has been sent. Those who were arrogant said, truly we believe not in that which you believe.
These would be the same group that asked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, can you believe this shit? Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, because it's a person, right? A person that's coming to them.
Yeah,
not a deity.
They don't make the same argument, right? They make that argument against Noah. They make that argument against Hud.
But in this case,
they don't do it in this case.
Yeah, it is true that they don't do it in this case.
Mm-hmm.
But they maybe are they making fun of the camel? Maybe that's the joke.
Maybe, or like they just baselessly don't believe because they're not saying this is why we don't believe.
Right, yeah.
They're just saying we don't believe in them.
Oh, it looks like they get into the camel next.
Oh, okay.
So it might have something to do with that.
Yeah, well, this is halfway through our planned reading for the day.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And so we have a T-shirt to give away.
Hey, listen, everyone, listen, calm down. So if you are not a patron, you should be, because you could win a T-shirt.
Oh boy.
That's great. You could win a T-shirt. And you know what?
There's the wheel.
Yeah, there it is. There's the wheel. Look at it. Look how pretty it is. How about we spin it?
Oh yeah. Sure,
Spinny wheelie?
Spinny
wheelie.
Just
Okay.
believe me.
Oh, we also have a donation goal.
We do.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's salmon. Chris.
Chris with a K.
Yep.
Chris with a K. Yes. You win a shirt. Congratulations. You get one.
You'll be able to wear it everywhere.
Yes, everywhere. In fact, if you don't wear it everywhere, April's going to come after you.
Dang.
And you don't want April to go after you.
You know all the places that you would wear shirts?
Yeah.
You have to wear them to all of them.
Shirts were going on the... Things were crazy, man. Shirts were going on the shirt part of their bodies.
Oh my gosh. GTA radio.
Dude, that was
Sports.
so good, yeah. It was good stuff.
Sports. Yep.
So, without further ado,
I'll
we have a donation goal. We're gonna arm wrestle.
Right, yeah, that's right. We're gonna arm
if we
wrestle.
get enough donations.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any amount. It can be
It doesn't really matter. It
pennies.
can be $1. Yeah, it can be whatever. Anyways, let's hop into the next verse here. So you just got done with verse 75 or 76?
76.
Yeah, 76.
Indeed.
Okay.
And
So
with 77, we're still in the story of this same prophet and these
So
doubters.
we're trying to figure out why these arrogant leaders have a problem. What their mushkila is.
Yeah, why don't you read the next two verses and then I'll have comments.
So you guys wouldn't get that, but the Arabs would get it. So
like a volt.
verse 77. So they hamstrung the she-camel and defied the command of their Lord. And they said, "Oh, Salih, bring us what you threaten us with if you are one of the apostles."
Continue.
Okay. Thereupon the earthquake seized them, and they lay lifeless, prostrate in their homes.
Yeah, so here's something big. Despite divisions among the Thamud regarding Salih and the message he brought, the commentators report that all the Thamud eventually consented to a plot to hamstring and kill the she-camel, thus indicating their collective guilt and liability to divine punishment, the justification for genocide.
Sure, yeah.
Because this is not just an earthquake, it's an intentional earthquake
To
that's
get
sent
these
by
people.
a conscious actor.
And not just that, but I mean, finally we have a reason for the camel, and the she camel was just there
To be
as bait.
sacrificed.
It was bait.
Yeah.
So
It's like the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. It's
True.
just bait that's there for people to screw
fuck up, yeah, and then there can be
you touch
punishment.
Yes.
Yeah, I touched it.
Promoting the arm
Oh.
wrestling careers. Thank you, Matthew.
$2 for Matthew. Thank
we
you.
are 10% of the way there. Well, not in terms of dollar amounts.
Right, not in
we
terms of
could
dollars.
really have
any amount.
but 10% of the way there in terms of donation.
Man, we made those little animations for Streamlabs so long ago.
Like what, 7 years ago or
Oh
some
my god,
shit?
dude, we're fucking old.
We are
you didn't
old.
realize?
Fucking old.
Didn't realize that a while
Especially
ago.
Chris.
Yeah.
This is so old.
Hey, how are
33.
How are the dinosaurs, Chris?
Yeah.
Oily.
What was it like to take notes on stone tablets in school?
Hard.
Were you able to dodge Abraham Lincoln when his body fell from the rafters?
Why is it that?
Whoa. Yeah, what
What?
was that?
So
Where'd
left
that
field.
come from?
So left field.
Wow, Zowie. Why don't you continue reading the Quran?
do that. With verse 78. No, I read 78.
Yeah.
79 though. I'm gonna read from Slade Reynolds here. So he abandoned them to their fate and said, "Oh, my people, certainly I communicated to you the message of my Lord, and I was your well-wisher, but you did not like well-wishers."
So
I'm trying to figure out if this is someone who wishes at a well or someone who gives well wishes.
is
Eh,
giving
both.
well wishes.
I think
but,
it's both.
Sully's turning away from them may refer to his abandonment of the Thamud in advance of their punishment, leaving the settlement along with a small number of believers, or it may refer to his reaction to the destruction of his people, either when he turned back and saw smoke rising from their residences and knew that they had been destroyed, or after returning to find them lying lifeless in their abodes. Like Noah and Hud before him, Salih affirmed that he has fulfilled his responsibility to God and his people, having delivered the message of the Lord and advised the people sincerely, two essential vocations of a Quranic prophet. But although Noah and Hud made their statements in a mood of warning, Salih says this was sadness and regret that for all his efforts he couldn't persuade his people to mend their ways. Or he says it by way of posthumous chastisement for people's stubborn disbelief.
Yeah, it looks like he just left because he was like, I tried to save you. I did everything I could.
Now, that the dead
Did you?
could hear such rebukes from the living is supported by the report that the prophet addressed the dead at the Battle of Badr, asking them if they had found God's promise to be true. When Umar expressed surprise at the prophet's addressing the dead, the prophet replied that the dead could hear as well as the living, even if they could not respond. Some reports indicate that Salih and those who believed in him returned to the settlement of the Thamud and took up residence in the homes of those who had been killed.
You know, it's sad that there is nothing like you remember we talked about Araf last episode? The veil between heaven and hell? How they could talk to each other and see each other?
Yes.
It's sad that there's nothing like that described here between humanity and hell.
No,
That'd be
because
cool.
the dead don't respond.
No.
They can
No.
just hear.
Yeah. That's lame. And next verse, verse 80. And Lot, when he said to his people, "What? Do you commit an outrage none in the world ever committed before you? Indeed, you have come to men with desire instead of women." You have come to men with desire instead of women. You are indeed a dissolute lot. So when it comes to, because we remember the Lot story, right?
Nope.
Yeah, now they're explicitly naming the sin of
homosexuality,
Sodom
yeah.
as homosexuality,
Which-
which is not explicit in the Bible.
It wouldn't have been that. It would have been like not being bad hospitality.
Mm.
That's what it seems like it would have been, at least in that context. And the thing is, Abraham.
That's a hell of a level of bad hospitality, though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Which the thing is, obviously, these sexual assault's not a bad thing. My unfinished journey. Hail Nero, Lawrence, and well wishers. Thank you for the 222. Yeah, like in the context of the story, the sexual assault isn't a bad thing because he offers his daughters. So that's not a bad thing.
Right, that is not considered
But
the issue.
no, but this is when we're getting. I feel like we read a Gnostic work that also might have portrayed homosexuality as the sin. Maybe it was. Maybe
We
it was
read
Baruch.
something that did.
Maybe it was second Baruch.
I know we did. It was some apocryphal work.
Right,
but
yeah.
We definitely did not see that in the Bible.
No, we did not.
Yeah,
it was probably apocryphal though. However, this is I'll get to it in a little bit here. But either way, that's the direct sin. It's homosexuality.
pseudepigraphal, rather.
It is, yes. But the only answer of his people was that they said, "Expel them from your town. They are indeed a puritanical lot." Okay, so the only answer he received from his, so this is when who's condemning them here?
Yeah. So the people are responding to Lot. They're saying, "Let's throw these Puritans out of here."
Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a weird, because this didn't happen quite in the same way. Well, now it kind of points to the hospitality.
Some
angle.
speculate that the real crime of the people of Lot was forcible sodomy,
It literally says
Yeah.
you're going after men instead of women.
rather than consensual homosexual relations. But yeah,
Also,
it
April-
literally says you go after men instead of women, which is basically just homosexuality.
Right, yeah. Also, April, I am not a young buck. Matt and Nick Jackson are the young bucks.
Aren't they old?
No.
The Milwaukee Bucks?
Talking about the wrestling team, the Young Bucks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how old are they?
No, they're probably
Wait,
not that much older than us.
Is our
They're-
basketball
like,
team still
late
the
Then
Bucks?
they're
30s?
not old.
Right, yeah.
So we're not old.
They're older. But that doesn't make us not old.
We're pretty old.
We are, yeah.
In the state of nature, what's the natural human lifespan?
Sure.
Like, what is it, in the 70s? 80s?
In the state of nature?
Oh, then yeah, we're old as fuck.
Yeah, we're old as fuck.
Yeah. Anyways.
You're 43 today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. You deserve to have a great birthday.
We could do one of those like restaurant birthday songs that are like obnoxious and horrific.
No, we're not doing that one.
Happy
you.
birthday. Yeah, you. You.
Happy birthday, you.
I messed it up intentionally, guys. You know, I can't do it because it's copywritten.
Oh, shit, you're right.
And look at me not doing it wrong.
So 83, verse 83.
Shit, you're right.
Thereupon we delivered him and his family, except his wife. She was one of those who remained behind. That's not what happened.
You know, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah, what's one
She
way?
remains behind because she gets turned
Into
salt.
I am currently. Okay.
And what do you do when your wife gets turned to salt? I mean, realistically,
You use the
What-
salt because that's a waste of salt.
you just like break her finger off and be like, "Yeah, I'll use this."
She's obviously
salt
not
here.
alive. She's salt. Okay.
Salt
okay.
is all over the place. You don't need to go back to
But
get.
you might need some on your journey.
Really, what they were saying is she doubted, and then she looked back, and she was proven wrong. So she was really salty.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm gonna do this we're gonna do one more verse, and then I have some commentary here.
Do it.
My unfinished suck with the $2. Don't suck. Like and share the stream instead. That's a great idea.
That is a great message. And you could spread that message to all of your friends and family and acquaintances and neighbors.
Yes, that's how sharing works. Yes. Sharing is caring.
If you meet like homeless people on the bus,
they could really use this show.
What?
This would definitely help them.
But how?
maybe this is not the main thing that you give them, but like
This is very helpful. This is definitely what they need right now.
You give them like $5 along with a little business card that has a link to us on it.
That's gonna help them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they could sell that. So verse 84. Then we poured down upon them a rain of stones. So observe how was the fate of the guilty.
So the rain of stones, it's like a meteor shower. The stones.
Oh, you know what the word for this is?
What?
Martyr. Or like martar. Like mortar almost.
Oh, interesting.
Or matar, literally raining, is also used in the sense of doing good and evil, doing good or evil, according to the object which by which it is followed. But amtara, which is the form used here, is only used in relation to punishment. The punishment which overtook the people of Lot is frequently called matar or rain, while in 1182 and 1574 stones are said to have been rained down upon them. And in 5434 it is called hashib, which primarily signifies a thrower or pelter of stones. And then he says that it was a volcanic eruption combined with an earthquake, which doesn't say that anywhere unless it's in another surah.
No, it doesn't say that anywhere.
But that would be like their more naturalistic explanation, right? In Genesis, in Genesis 19, Lot condemns the wicked behavior of the Sodomites. Otherwise, the Quran's brief reference to the story of Lot for the purpose of moral exhortation is closer to 2 Peter 2, 6 through 8, than to Genesis. What was the one in 2? I remember we had like a little story in one of those epistles where they had like some weird story about Satan, right? Or it was about Michael, actually, is what I'm thinking of. But I forget which one that was. It was like one lone reference.
2 Peter 2, 6 through 8.
Yes, 2 Peter 2, 6 through 8.
That is it's in the middle of a section. Hold on. I'm going to start with verse 4. For if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness and be reserved for judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but saved Noah, one of 8 people, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood in the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, and condemning them to destruction, making them an example to those who afterward would live ungodly, and delivered righteous Lot, who was oppressed by that filthy conduct of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them tormented his righteous soul from day to day by seeing and hearing their lawless deeds. So that's
neither. This is still different. Quite different.
2 Peter 2, 6 through 8.
No, not in the reading. I'm talking about
yes.
It's different from the Quran, is what I mean. That it's not all that similar either way.
No, it's not very.
It references the same story,
vaguely,
but
I guess the relevant feature is this fire being cast down.
Oh yeah, how it's turned to
destroys
ashes
them.
and stuff like that.
And here, if it's rocks, presumably they're on fire or something.
Rocks on fire.
Yeah, it's the new Prodigy song.
I don't know that they make anything. that would be up their alley, sure.
All right, but either way, when it says except his wife, when she remained behind, No, she went. She just also turned around, but she did not remain behind. So if we're comparing this to the Bible, then this is wrong. Let's go with the next verse.
Yes.
85.
Continue.
To the people of Midian, we sent Shuaib. And the people of Midian, that's where part of Moses' family is from, right?
Yeah, so Shuaib is a full...
his father-in-law. His father-in-law was Midianite. Pretty sure.
Shuaib's full name is given by the early historian Ibn Ishaq as Shuaib ibn Mikil ibn Yashjar. Others have identified him as Shuaib ibn Tauba or Buaib or Nuaib ibn Midian. Shuaib is referred to in Islamic tradition as the orator of the prophets, Khatib al-Anbiya, because of the eloquence and rhetorical power of his preaching. He's considered an Arab prophet, although the people of Midian are known in the Bible, and Shuaib is usually identified with the biblical figure Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, since the Quran mentions that Moses met his future wife and father-in-law in the area of Midian.
The connection to Midian there.
The people of Midian are said to have resided in northwestern Arabia, near Ma'an in Jordan, and to have descended from Midian, a son of Abraham.
Sure, yeah, I can see that. So the people of Midian, we sent Shuaib, their townsman. He said, "Oh, my people, worship God. You have no other God besides him. There has come to you a clear proof from your Lord. Observe fully the measure and the balance. Do not cheat the people of their goods, and do not cause corruption in the land after its restoration. That is better for you if you are faithful." So that was what, verse 85.
Yeah, and just to be clear, this is Genesis 25. Abraham again took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So Midian, the sons of Midian are Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abidah, and Eldah. These are children of Keturah.
Let's see. The injunction "diminish not to men their things" stands for not depriving or defrauding men of their rights, or not acting wrongfully toward men in respect of their things or dues. Yeah, because it kind of jumps from the way that the first two prophets were talked about was very different. And now it's starting very off the gate. Like, here's like a setup for, like bait basically with the camel. And then this one has a very quick prophetic admonishment.
Yeah, there's clear proof from the Lord, so observe it.
Yeah, he's just telling you to, be good.
Good.
Yeah, we really needed that. And he continues here. "And do not lie in wait on every road to threaten and bar those who have faith in him." That would be, Proverbs stuff. Who have faith in him from the way of God, seeking to make it crooked. Remember when you were few and he multiplied you, and observe how.
And behold how.
Oh, behold. And behold how. How was the fate of the agents of corruption. If a group of you have believed in what I have been sent with, and a group have not believed, be patient until God judges between us, and he is the best of judges.
So this clearly is not a realistic expectation, right? Because if I'm trying to convince a fence sitter,
you can't say wait until after the trial.
Yeah, right.
Because this is the Quran does this a lot, where it just does statements of fact, and now they've also pointed out there's no compulsion in religion, can't make people believe things that they just don't believe.
But there's also a lot of like, God is good, God is great, God's who we appreciate.
Right, yeah. Yeah, God's all knowing, all powerful, all wise, like all that stuff. But there's quite a lot of this like, oh, well, these are the signs, and if you don't accept them, then, well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
It's not a great argument, again, other than scaring someone into believing potentially. But they do claim these things as, well, I guess in this case you can't really say this is an argument. But at least the stuff we got about like in the last surah, we had the stuff about looking at the trees and the flowers and all that stuff. That was an argument. It wasn't a good one, but it was technically an argument.
Yeah, it's technically an argument. But here it's just like, well, okay, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Really, really not. These proofs have really went downhill since the last surah.
Let's see how the people respond to him in the next verse.
All right. So on to verse 88. The elite of his people, who were oppressors, said, "Oh, Shuaib." We're probably butchering that, by the way. We will, it's probably like Shuaib or something like that. We will surely expel you and the faithful who are with you from our town, or else you shall revert to our creed. Oh, okay. So they are trying to push their view. He said, what? Even if we should be unwilling, we would be fabricating a lie against God if we revert to your creed after God had delivered us from it. It does not behoove us to return to it unless God, our Lord, should wish so. Our Lord embraces all things in his knowledge. In God alone we have put our trust. Our Lord, judge justly between us and our people, and you are the best of judges.
The United States is not a Christian nation.
Yet.
But it does directly quote the Quran on the currency. In God do we trust.
Oh, sure, yeah. I suppose.
Dun, dun.
Who would have known? What a twist.
Oh, look at that. You voted for Trump and got Sharia law. That's it.
Yep.
That's what happened.
Whoops.
Who could
You
have
got
guessed this
Sharia.
would happen?
Yeah.
Whoops, all Sharia law.
So here's
Hold on,
something
hold on,
that
this
pops
can't
up in Islam, right? Even though we're unwilling, there can be no compulsion in
Right.
religion.
They do say that a lot.
And here the argument is laid out, right? That you would be lying, right? If you were compelled in your religion.
Right, yeah. So if like you can't force someone to believe in that stuff or worship, because then they would be lying. Also, let's see how this is pronounced.
Shuaib.
Oh. Shuaib, okay.
Shuaib.
Oh, wait, this is the American pronunciation. Oh, they don't give an Arabic one. Okay. I would like to hear an Arabic one, but
You
I
wish.
guess I'll listen to that later. Yeah, but Shuaib, okay. I guess we're not. We still could be wrong. Google can be wrong.
Can it? Or does Google define what is right?
Wow.
Is proper pronunciation going to be decided by Google in the next 30
I
years?
sure hope not.
Pronunciation.
It's pronunciation.
I just wanted to troll you.
Let's see. Let's continue on.
Yeah, finish this.
We are I just got done with 89, so on to 90. So in the last few chapters here.
No.
The elite of his people who were faithless said, if you follow Shuaib, you will indeed be losers. Oh,
We've
so
seen this argument before.
They're turning it around on him. Because they're saying that if you follow him, you'll be a loser. When the joke's on them, right? Because they're supposed to, because if you didn't follow him, they'd be losers.
Right.
Yeah.
I follow.
Yes.
So, it's just kind of like a low intellect thing. where like
The arguments?
the same insult
That too,
over
yeah.
and over and over again. They
do,
just
yeah.
call people losers.
Because they're gonna lose in the end, right? They're not using
yeah.
it the same way we do, but it's it is like a very
They are using it in the same way we do.
Same way?
There's just a little more oomph to it.
I'd say there's quite a bit more oomph because, like, usually you and I, if we call someone a loser, we're not talking about the fucking afterlife.
I'm not.
Oh my God! Have you been talking about the afterlife this whole time?
Oh, definitely.
Wow.
Yep.
Crazy.
Let's see what happens to the losers.
Right? Yeah. I'm guessing hellfire. We've gotten that threat so many times.
Well, you'll see.
Another earthquake. Okay. So the earthquake sees them, and they lay lifeless, prostrate in their homes.
Yep. So just like
And the other guy.
the other guy.
Yeah. What was his name? I already forgot his name. Was it the people of Ad? Or the people of the Thamud.
Yeah, the people of
How could you forget them?
Yeah. They were the ones that got destroyed by the earthquake.
So are these like minor prophets? I mean, they're not biblical necessarily. Some of them have biblical counterparts.
Right, yeah. Not all of them, apparently. We'll see if there's
They're mentioned for like 3 verses, and like what is that?
Yeah, they don't get much screen time. The thing is, in their like in the Hadith, there's way more.
I'm sure in like the extended fan fiction that there's plenty.
There's thousands. Like I think the way this is described to me is that there are hundreds of listed prophets, minor prophets in the Hadith, but like in the extended fanfics, it would be like 30,000 or something like that, or like 50,000.
It's ridiculous.
Like ones that are unnamed.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
How are they going to fit all that in the 6,000 years?
a lot of prophets. Yeah. Continuing on though, those who impugn Shuaib became as if they had never lived there. Those who impugned Shuaib were themselves the losers. So this is similar to the whole name getting blotted out of the book of life, right? This is like your memory is not even around.
It was as though they had never dwelt there.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't think these verses. Yeah, these verses don't have much commentary. These are pretty straightforward. So verse 93. So he abandoned them to their fate, just like the other one did, and said, "Oh, my people, certainly I communicated to you the messages of my Lord, and I was your well-wisher. So how should I grieve for a faithless lot?" Again, reference to the well-wisher, but also they use the phrase grieving for the faithless lot, which is what they get called, which is what the people of Sodom get called, the faithless lot. Or they get called desolate lot, and they get called some other stuff, but maybe that's a parallelism that only exists in English.
Right, probably. And here it's, how can I grieve for a disbelieving people?
Right.
So it's likely not in any way related there.
Makes
But
sense.
coincidental in the translation. His reaction is different. These prophets are individuals, right?
Yeah.
They are put in similar situations, but they have different reactions. So one of them, like, is really sad about his people dying. Another one's like, well, why should I grieve for them? They didn't listen to me, right? So there's a little bit of variety, at least in the personality of the characters here. But from what we've read today, it's been fairly repetitive throughout these verses.
That's true.
And in fact, we are now out of that section with the next verse, which is the last verse of the day.
Yes, it
You're
is.
going to be entering into a new section. Verses 94 through 102 serve as a commentary on and a conclusion to the prophetic narratives of Noah, Hud, Salih, Lot, and Shuaib.
in both general and specific ways, the Quran indicates that the sending of a prophetic messenger is often accompanied in some form of adversity for his people as a moral test. So
There is a different explanation for that here, but I'll get into it in just a second.
yeah, why don't you hop into the last verse of the day and then
You got it.
Yeah.
And we did not send a prophet to a town, but we seized its people with distress and affliction that they might humble themselves. Another option here is, we did not send a prophet to any town without visiting its people with stress and distress.
I don't believe them. I think
guess
by the fact that they have this many prophets, they just had a prophet there. They didn't even have to send a guy.
That is true.
But look at the odds that they had a prophet there. 8.3 prophets per year? That's crazy.
That's pretty good. Although I do want to point out,
Time a dozen prophets.
I do want to point out that it seems like the prophets only come when there is as like a last resort almost. Like they're the ones that come right before the punishment. Because
consistently in the Bible, that's pretty much how they're used, right?
That's true.
At least for many of them. There are some of them that have a longer story, but a lot of them are just like, woe unto this, woe unto that. This the curse is going to happen. Like, and a lot of the time, it's very much so like immediate. So
that's true, but I do see this commentary is from Abdul Yusuf Ali. He says, "Man was originally created pure. The need of a prophet arises when there is some corruption and iniquity, which he is sent to combat. His coming means much trial and suffering, especially to those who join him in his protest against wrong." So that the way this holy shit, that almost fell. The way this is, like, we don't send a prophet to any city. What was it? I think I like the translation. Said Reynolds better. We did not send a prophet to any town without visiting its people first. So, without visiting its people with stress and distress so that they might entreat God. So first come some of the signs, right? That are meant to convert you. And then a prophet comes right before the destruction, and that's like your last chance, which is why I think throughout this entire reading today, we've seen prophet comes, they say something about, trying to save people, and then people die. That's why that has happened so much. It's because that's like the last kind of thing before there's a great destruction, which has connotations to it, like if Muhammad is the last prophet, where is the last punishment?
Well, the last punishment.
They're still waiting for the day of judgment, right?
Yeah.
And that's I didn't bring a watch, but
Well, there is a
It
difference.
hasn't happened yet.
There is a difference, right? Because Muhammad,
if people followed
people followed Muhammad, and so his followers are gonna survive and thrive, right?
I get
They're
that.
not gonna be one of these people that gets wiped out.
I get
and
that.
maybe if you look at other peoples of the region, like the Quraysh,
Sure.
that feeds into their narrative,
Right. I guess you
over
could
time.
look into like a local kind of the local history and see which people got fucked over right after Muhammad. So you could have the connection of like, oh, look at that. The prophet was sent before the destruction of these people.
Well, keeping in mind also that this is supposed to be later on in Muhammad's lifetime, according to the
these are the Meccans. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be one of the last things that he ever says. It's going to be after they engage in any kind of military conquest that they would have been involved in during his lifetime.
See, Ralph, that was the point that I was trying to make earlier. That like, if you haven't heard of hell, you shouldn't like be able to go to it because you don't have like the chance to, say, like, or still a chance to repent, I guess, right?
Yeah. But if you hold the position that the only way to heaven is through Christ, then they would go to hell if they hadn't heard of him.
Necessarily, yes.
Ouch.
Either way.
Yeah, that's the reading for today. Hey, everyone, check us out on every platform.
Every single one. We got shirts, and it doesn't make
Are
sense
we
to
on
pin them.
Blue Sky? Is there a Milwaukee Atheist Blue Sky?
No, I
account?
could make one of those though.
You should make one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
we have
sorry,
an
Ryan.
Amazon wish list.
Sorry, Ryan. Going a little late there.
Chrissy.
Yeah.
Chris with a K
Yes.
for the shirt.
Yes.
Yes.
They want
Chris.
the shirt.
Chris. Yes. I will reach out to see what kind of shirt they want.
There you go.
Indeed. And you know, you could win a shirt yourself if you were a patron.
Probably.
Like you, Ralph. You could be a $10 patron or more every month.
He might be.
Yeah, you could.
You might be.
You could.
You could also become a member. You can see Ryan with it as luxurious golden
April, I'll
cow.
send you a picture of a birthday shirt.
There.
Mm. Lawrence will eat some cake on your behalf.
Yeah, I will. It'll be great for everyone.
Mm.
Yeah, just get an Apple Rewards card. Don't cash it though.
Yeah. Anyways, everyone, look us up on Discord.
Go to the Discord, Amazon wish list, all the links that Ruben mentioned. Get a shirt, all that stuff.
Yep. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching us.
And Abandon God.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Do what he said. Do what
Right.
he said. See you next Wednesday.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Next Wednesday, we'll see you.
What? Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Goodbye.